Good morning, Orazio, and thanks a lot for joining this call today. Since the preparation call we had last week, I've been really pumped for this interview. Now, for those who don't know Orazio, he runs a worldwide marketing agency and helps local businesses, I think mostly in the service sectors, get customers from Google Ads. Orazio does that mainly with a pay-per-call model. So, Orazio, thanks again for.
Thank you, Pericles. It's a pleasure for me to join you in this podcast. I hope we can give some advices that can help small business owner or even, like consultants to improve their results. Yes, I am the founder of Clientment. We are an Estonian company. And from Estonia, we try to bring, our knowledge abroad. We have clients around Europe, and we have some clients in United States. And so thanks to this kind of worldwide approach, we have different points of view and what is happening in the micro local market, because we don't work with corporates or huge company. We go with, I want to say, like moms and pops shop that provide local service almost.
Okay, that's great, Orazio. Can you please share a bit on how typically your partnerships are scheduled? What type of services you offer?
Okay, technically we provide lead, and obviously mainly call lead, and so we usually do a very straight selection about what clients to bring on board, because we are like straight performance guy. So if the partner provides results, it means money for us. But if the partner, because we call them partner, if they are not able to handle a call, this will cause us huge damage. So we go through a very deep screening to understand how they are structured, because before we talk about how to get more customer, you have to ask yourself how I am handling the clients that I am receiving right now. And usually I think about all the business process as a bucket, or it's like trendy right now saying as a funnel. And if you have huge holes in this funnel, you can throw in how many customers you want, but you will lose them in the process. So we go very straight, like trying to understand how big is the company, who is in charge of answering the phone, if she or he is a sales guy, is prepared to handle the call. He has a script with what kind of questions to ask to the potential client. And obviously we try even to understand what are their goals. This way you can feel if you have a strong company that is well organized or is a one-man show. So before talking about the digital stuff or how much budget they want to invest, we try to understand, is this guy's trustworthy? Is this guy's reliable? And all these kind of questions.
That's great. It seems like you've had some partnership with companies that couldn't handle that many sales. So what are you trying to understand? How do you check if a company is ready to get sales?
So sometimes we talk with, as I've said before, like one-man show. So, and we talk even with a really micro company where there is the wife, the husbands, sons that deal with the real providing of the service. But in this scenario, the important thing, let's say there are even some employees. In this scenario, when we start our partnership, we want that is the business owner that handle the initial calls. This way, we can understand what is approach to business. And because in all these years that I work with small businesses, and I don't want to talk badly about it, they are, you know, great because they are the real economy. But what I want to say is that sometimes they are great technicians, great providers of the service. So great pest controller, great technician, great plumbers, but these we cannot give for granted that they are even great sales guy, because there are two these are two different jobs. I mean, you can be a great plumbers, but you are not able to convert a customer on a phone call. So when my team start to talk with these potential partners, potential clients, we listen to how they handle the call. And sometimes, obviously, we even record the call to understand if they are doing a good job or not, because initially we give them some kind of trial period. But the trial period, I said, look, man, the trial period is for both. It's for you, you understand the quality of our service, but it's even for us to understand if you can be like a reliable and interesting partner for us. We are not going around like a beggar asking, you know, please sign me the contract because I need this money. We prefer have less clients, but like as great performers.
Let's move a bit towards the digital side of the stuff. And let's start first of all with the results. So do you have a specific case or some specific numbers you could share on what you have managed to achieve?
I brought some numbers, some results about, and I did it by will to talk about very small situation. I choose a case study in Italy. So, I mean, Italy, we are not talking about huge countries like United States or other European country where we have a huge number of users online or people that rely on internet to find new provider for the service they are looking for. So I brought a very case study with numbers that we did in a small places. I mean, I'm talking about 5 small area that they put together almost 1.5 million people living in. So we are talking about nothing. Is just Rome, for example, is bigger than that. In the summer period, we are talking about a pest control company. In the summer period, we drove them in almost 3 months, 320 calls. Obviously, these calls could be a good one, a potential deal or job or not, but in total, 319 calls. And if we want to go deep about the results of the campaign, because this helped us to understand what can be a good ratio, we had one call every almost 6 clicks with a CTR of 9.48, almost 10, that for the like Google standard is very good, I want to say. A CPC, a cost per click of 1.5, we are talking about euro, and a total ad spend of almost 3,000 euro in this, let's say, summer period. So in some huge metro area, you can spend 3,000 euro in a month. So this can help you understand what we are talking about. What about the ROAS, the return on ad spend on the investment that this partner did? Usually every 6 call, generic call, he closed a deal, and the average transaction is around 200 or 300 euro per job. So doing a quick math, we reach something like 50K, 50,000 euro of deal done thanks to our intervention. And I mean, it's about a 500% ROAS. If we want to be conservative, let's say 215. So he spent 3,000. He earned at least 6, 9. Even because, you know, sometimes they don't want to share how much they are making, because they know that you can go and say, look, friend, I'm bringing you 20,000 euro. Share something with me. And I mean, we are not greedy. And this was, you know, a very nice case study, because it shows you that even if you are in a rural area, if you set up a good campaign with a good landing page, and you have all the thing in the right place, even from, like, let's say, the human API, the human interface, so the person who handled the calls, you can achieve very, very good results, even in this period that are not, from an economical point of view, the best moments we had.
So I actually understood that from the moment you actually brought in a closed deal, you covered all your expenses for 3 months, and then everything else was just profit, with an average transaction of around 2 to 3K.
And something interesting I want to add, Pericles, sorry if I interrupt you.
No worries.
These are first transactions, because I mean, we are in the pest control business, and if a rat came into your place one time, most probably, let's say, they know the road to make to come back in your place. So these many times are repeat customer, and when they came back for the second, the third intervention, I mean, these are kind of free money, because in these 320 calls, there are even a B2B call. So company that need 6 months, 12 months intervention, or we have even much more expensive kind of intervention when they are related with some kind of food issue. You know, in Italy, we have certification, kind of cleaning certification to open a restaurant, and pest control can give this kind of certification. These are huge jobs for them. So yes, the front end, so the first job they do can be very remunerative, but let's think about all the back end, all the thing that they can sell as a second, third intervention, or cross sale. Okay, I did the pest control intervention, I clean your place, or I do some kind of other service.
It seems that like there is a whole room for growth there. So you use your initial service to break into a new customer, and then it's up to the business to expand and offer more services and retain that customer.
Technically, what's happened? So we start with a test area in a small place, and you know, people usually, and it's fair, they don't trust you sometimes at the beginning of a relationship, because a lot of people do like over promising and under delivery. For that reason, we tell them, let's start small, try just your place, your city, your town. After that, we can expand. Is not an issue, even because, you know, we give some kind of exclusive deal. So if I work with you in, let's say, in Rome, and you have the structure to handle all the calls I can send you in Rome, I mean, I don't need to deal with 5, 6, 10 customer in the same place, because it it became a mess. You know, is from an admin point of view is stuff. And they understand this kind of, test and try, and after eventually increase the ad spend, increase their radius of intervention. Some of these guys, thanks to our intervention, they brought other people on board. They had to buy other, I don't know, like means of transportations, vans, all this kind of thing.
Yeah, makes sense. Orazio, I'd like to dive deeper and provide some insights on how you have managed to reach those, those metrics. I mean, 1 out of 6 impressions is a click, and your cost per click is 1.5. How did you manage to set up this kind of campaigns?
So technically you have to know, and I know that many people talks about it, and I know that you are listening this podcast, you start to think, okay, but this is trivial. But I mean, you have to know first the buyer's behavior about that specific market, because when I want to buy a pair of Jordan shoes, I will do I will approach to the research in a different way related to like a pest control service. So I mean, in a pest control service, if we want to be specific, this is a very, so people gather a lot of information before calling a provider. And usually when they call, they have a very urgent need. So you have to know first the buyer behavior in that specific niche. So what they search, how they feel, because many times we just talks about money. We just talks about the deal. We just talks about the CPC. But have you ever found at your place some cockroaches? It
Oh yeah.
happened to me. And I mean, in the middle of the night, my brain just went like down. I was, let's say, scared or kind of disgusted. So put in the shoes of a person that found that kind of pests in his place, and you can understand, you can relate with them. So this helps us to write a better ads, to build a relevant landing page, because sometimes what the small business does, they tell too much about themselves, doing like a university professor. And even on their websites, let's not talk about the calls. Sometimes we have like 15 minutes calls when our partner tell to the customer about the rhododendria. They start to talk in Latin about, some kind of pests. But they talk too much about their company, who they are, and all this kind of thing about me. Put yourself in the shoes of the customer that need your service. So tell him, first you have to help him from a psychological point of view, because he is scared. After you deal with this kind of scaring feels that he has, after you can talk about business, you can ask him money. So first you have to fix that. And you can do it even with the how you write your head, with the copywriting side, how you write the head, how you write the landing page, and all the offer. Sometimes I see heads that, like, they said, we are in the pest control since 1980. Okay, but the customer don't care. You can remove the cockroaches that he found, yes or not. So probably it's better to ask, did you wake up this night and you found the cockroaches in your kitchen? No problem, man, we can help you. Okay, this seems like elementary school kind of language, but when you write copy, you have to write like you are talking to a kids of 8 year, 6 year, because you don't know the mental states they are in that moment. So this is the first tips. And so you have to know about the specific market. You have to, when we go to a new country, we choose a professional, not a random guy to translate, because you have to know even the, let's say, the slang, the local slang. how they call a certain issue in a certain way, etc. And after, start to build your swipe file. So if you did a campaign that worked, you have to improve and build your swipe file. This way you can do just a copy and paste if you want to open in a new city, in a new area. And
I'm sorry to interrupt, Orazio. Can you please elaborate on swipe file?
I mean, the swipe file is a normal Excel file. So you open an Excel file where you have different sheets, and for every page, you just put in one page, like the keywords you use. In another page, the negative keywords. In another page, the ads you write. In another page, like the extension you want to add to the campaign. This way, obviously you can use even like automatic tool like Google Ads Editor, and you can just copy and paste the campaign. But when you are starting, this helps to you like build your kind of knowledge box, like a Swiss knife. You know that in your swipe file, you can do some changes looking at the results you had. It's so something you have to have in, you know, your folder, and when you need to open a new place, you take some, you know, ideas from that.
Okay, great. Thanks for explaining, Orazio. So you explained that in order to achieve this kind of conversions, great conversions, you need to listen to the customer and prepare your copy according to what the customer says and what he needs. So I
Yes.
imagine you kind of listen to conversations, understand what the customer is looking for, and then rewrite your copy based on what you heard. Is that kind of what it looks like?
Technically, we built our knowledge during these years. Uh, you can go out with a good enough copy, good enough ads, and start to optimize it. And I mean, initially, even if Google is going like to full steam automation, but initially it's better to go with like a manual drive, let's say. This way you can understand how the system behave, what people are looking for. Because if you give all your buttons and levers in the hand of Google, I mean, their core business is to sell ads, sell clicks. So at the end, they are interested in the conversion just to keep you in the game, you know, but they don't know if you close that deal or not. So we have to start to look at it as a process, and every process have some specific parts. There are the ads, there are how you handle the call, there is how you provide the service, and you have to fix all that small parts of an entire process. This way you achieve two goals. You can optimize from a digital point of view. So from an ad campaign, you can optimize your process, and you can even delegate to an employee in a second moment. Because when you have like a receipt, you tell your assistants, your employee, let's say you are the pest control company boss, you know, you are the owner. You can delegate and give it to him. Okay, let's write the ad that way. We are not talking about, you know, marketer or digital expert, I mean, or consultant. They know this stuff. If we talk with a small business owner, he is totally not aware about that. So from that point, you start to improve little by little the keywords, the ads, the extension, and all these things, and start manual. I mean, manual even for the bidding strategies. A lot of people are talking about, you know, the smart bidding strategies of Google. What's the difference? One, you decide how much to bid for every keywords. So how much money you want to invest in a specific way, like a surgeon. In the other way around, you have the automatic bidding. So Google takes your wallet and decide what to do. So start manual, and eventually you can start to use more advanced bidding strategy later.
Okay. So Orazio, can you please walk me through what are your best practices when it comes to targeting like specific keywords? Are you using broad phrase or exact match? What is your tactic when it comes to Google advertising?
Okay, so what is happening now? Many people, and like even I read recently in Search Engine Journal, so Google is pushing back and suggestion about keeping love again with broad match. So let's explain what they are. Match type is a way you tell Google, show my keywords, show my heads when this keyword is being searched. So you have different kind of match types. You have the broad, so let's say pest control, and if you put inside, let's say Google system, the broad pest control without any limitation keyword, what happened? That if someone search for pest control tools, even if you don't sell tools, your ads will show up. So you have the broad, that is the most generic keyword you can use. You have the phrase match, that you put two words together, like, or two or more, like pest control service. Your ad will show for this exact combination plus a word at the beginning or at the end. So, I mean, it's better than the broad match, but still some, room for risk. And at the end, you have the exact match. So your ad will show only if the customer searched that kind of keyword. After we have a variation, there is the broad modified. The broad modified is a way to put the broad match type a little bit more strict. You put a plus sign in front of a words, and this tells Google, show my heads if these words appear, and I let you decide the combination. So let's say you put plus pest plus control plus service. The customer can search even service, pest control, or control pest service, and your ad will show up. It's a way to put some kind of control around the keywords. But right now, many experts, they are start to talk back about the broad match. But when you can use the broad match, when you have a very high level of knowledge about how the Google ad system work, and when you have some kind of automatic and smart bidding. So when you let Google decide how to invest your money, you tell the system, okay, my daily spend limit is 15 euro. I let you decide what to do with this 15 euro. But at that point, you have to put in place some kind of monitoring, some kind of, conversion checks. I mean, it's not easy stuff. And after that, after you understand the broad match, your best friend become the negative keywords. Because we have, let's say, this positive keyword that you tell Google, show my ads when people search this word, and you have even the negative one. That is when you tell Google, don't show my ads when people search that. That's still related to the industry you are in. Let's do some kind of examples.
Yeah,
like, I mean, sometimes there are people that search pest control training. are other pest control business owner that want to have some training, or like natural remedies. So are people that don't want to kill, you know, the pests or what it is. So they are searching for natural remedies. Or we have even like sometimes people that search for pest control tools. They want to buy equipment or images. You have to build a negative keyword list that will prevent Google to show your ads for unrelated searches. And you can do this job with many tools that, if you want, I can even share.
Okay, so would you suggest a small business owner of a pest control company if he started doing some Google ads on his own?
Yeah.
So some kind of tests he could run. Should he start using like a broad match with a ton of negative keywords? Is it like that?
I mean, initially, what I suggest to him is to start with some exact match. So, and you split. You can even split. You can create different ad groups. In one ad groups, you can write the same ad, but you do like exact match, ad group, and phrase match. It's better to avoid the broad match initially. Why? Because you have a daily spend limit. So if you burn your budget because some dude looked for pest control tool, you are out for that day. And I mean, it's easy to spend. It depends on the area, because we paid 1.5 euro. But I mean, in the United States, for certain related niche, you can spend like $10, $5. But even in countries like France, or I mean, in Europe is still different, still, let's say, cheap. But just a couple of years ago, I could buy a click for 0.20 or 0.50 cents.
Good
Now
times.
you have to put on you have to put on the table at least €1, €2, €3. It depends. So start with, you know, exact match or phrase match. You have time to make it better later, and start to build your negative keyword list. Asking to yourself what you look for when you go online related to your niche, like training, like association. Put all these words in a list and upload it as a negative keyword list. And you can use tools like answerthepublic.com. It's a very nice tool that help you discover what are the main keywords or negative one. You can use even the Google suggest. When you do a search, usually Google suggests you some related words that probably you're looking for. You can use obviously the internal Google Ads tool, even if it doesn't give you exact number, but to build a negative keyword list, it could help a lot.
Okay, these are some solid tips. Do you have anything else to add?
Sometimes you could read a tons of books, you could listen to a tons of audio training, but you have to start somewhere. So start small, even with €5 budget, daily €5 budget, €10 budget. And from that, when you find the right equation, when you find the right formula, you can start to improve from that. And I mean, if I have to give an advice to someone that want to start to do some kind of digital promotion, online marketing, first you start to spend money. You have to be sure that you have everything in place, because you can even achieve great results and your phones start to explode with calls. But if nobody is answering, I mean, you're wasting money. And when sometimes they ask to me, Orazio, what do you suggest? What we can do? I ask, who is answering your phone? And how he is answering your phone? So the company structure is the main thing. Internet, online marketing, these are just channel that can brings to your machine, that is your company, that can brings new opportunities. But if you are not able to convert it, okay, you have a great campaign, and after a couple of months, you start to be sad and bored because you spend a ton of money without achieving great results.
So you have to be prepared for growing, you mean, if you start.
Yes,
Yeah, of course, it
yeah,
makes sense.
this is the main thing, because I repeat, as we said at the beginning, and you can be a great pest control guy. You could find even the perfect setup for the campaign, the perfect negative keyword list, but I mean, you have to convert that customer, and this is the most delicate moments of the whole transaction, the whole the process.
It seems like this is one of the biggest challenges a small business owner might face. Is that right?
We don't want to, brag about the product, but very quickly, we use Nimbata as a tool, and the system helps us understand how they are handling the call. And I suggest to people to, using Nimbata or not, okay, we don't want to push it too much,
Yeah.
but I strongly recommend Nimbata, by the way. But to record the call and listen to your call, or listen to how your employees are handling the call. Obviously, you have to be compliant with all the laws you have in your place. You have to inform the customer. You have to inform, I mean, we know about that legal stuff, that the recorded message, and in Europe is becoming a mad GDPR. I mean, there are a privacy law every day. So you must be compliant about that, but tell to the client that is calling, sorry, sir, can I record the call for like a training reason? We try to improve our service. I mean, client usually tell you, yes, they don't care about that. And thanks to Nimbata, we had the opportunity in some case to change how the campaign was going, because we were going nowhere. The campaign was doing fine. The client was, let's say, happy, but we didn't understood why results didn't came in. I mean, I'm talking about, jobs, new services provided. So this is a very tough problem that they have.
Yeah. So of course, customer handling has to be a main factor in every business, I guess, and especially in retail, because you have to face like ton of customers coming in and asking different stuff.
And the issue, what it is, Pericles, that if you are the business owner, you are not the person answering the phone, you don't know how the customer are treated. So you start to ask to yourself, and you have a lot of self-doubt. I mean, and you go in a crisis mode, and you start to complain to the economy, the government, and my competitor are going like low cost, so they are stealing me. I mean, yes, but first answer to your call, or listen to your call. And for me, sometimes I am even scarce. Thanks God I have my assistants. They listen to the calls because I go in a rage mode. I became crazy. If you listen to calls, to our calls, sometimes our partner, they answer to the phone, yeah, yeah, pest control company, what do you want? I mean, what do you want? First, the tone, how you handle the... Sometimes I just want to take the phone, call the guy, and start to yell at him. Because at the end of the month, when they have to pay our receipts or even the had spent, Orazio, but what happened this month? We didn't close a lot of job. I just download an Excel file from Nimbata. I send them the Excel file and I said, look, guys, I sent you 100 call. I sent you 50 call this month. There are almost 30 not answered call. The other 20, 10, your guy just gave customer generic information. And the goal of each calls is to fix the appointments. Don't try to sell on the phone because you lose the customer. And we have some data that show us that the calls that goes over 3.5, 4 minutes almost, the closing ratio just drop dramatically because the customer had all the information they want. Now they will go to your competitor asking for a lower price. So, I mean, you are the owner of informations and of the knowledge. When you receive a call, your first goal is to set up, let's say, a first view of the situation, first appointment. You can even avoid to talk about prices because if you find a price shopper, you can avoid to handle that customer. So
you can do it
this is the
face to face later.
Yes, even because, I mean, you have to stay around. Is your company sometimes, and we closed this partnership after a few weeks when I received the reports about how they are performing. And there are people that, no, this call is too far. This was like not a good customer. No, this thing we don't provide. I mean, yes, but is your job. What do you want that they go to do? And look, Pericles, I want to be honest. Sometimes in a certain cities, I even thought, look, I'm going to buy the equipment and start to do pest control by myself. Because when you send 200 call in a month to a guy and he closed like the 10%, the 15%, and you heard some calls that you could close it, you start to have this kind of bad thought. Because, I mean, I respect, the professional. It seems easy, but it's not easy, and they have a lot of struggle because, let's be honest, we are in front of our PC. They are hitting the roads every day. So, I mean, it's stressful, it's tough. Clients are not so easy to handle. But if I have to give a suggestion, is start to improve your sales skill, your phone sales skill. Because now with all the COVID madness, phone became central again. People don't want to visit your shop or your office. People will call you, and if they find you that you are a reliable guy and you are COVID free, okay, they let you come in their place. I mean, I'm just kidding.
No, that's fine. And now that you mentioned COVID, it came to my mind about seasonality. Pest control is kind of a seasonal service.
It is a huge seasonal service.
So how do you handle that seasonality? Do you switch ad copy based on months?
What happened from our, let's say, our sales business development process? We start to approach them in a, let's call it preparation phase. The preparation phase that is even a good moment to prepare your heads is between like the end of February and the beginning of May, even let's say the end of March, because this is a moment where they are, they are listening. They want to know if there are new things that can help their company. And for what concern the, let's say the campaigns, this is a good period to, do some tests. Why? Because you don't have a lot of search volume for the main keywords, and you are not in a big risk situation. After we have the peak time. The peak time is from May to the end of September. Obviously, I'm talking about like Mediterranean place. We are talking about the Italian case study. I mean, Greece is the same, in Spain, in France. Obviously, if you start to go in Germany, it's different. But let's say in United States, if you do pest control in California, Florida, Texas, I mean, the periods change. And you have the peak time. In the peak time, you have to land at the peak time with a well-structured campaign. And after, we have kind of off-season. The off-season is from November to February. And I mean, you can study in that period. You can study, you can analyze what were the trends in the peak time. But this doesn't mean you have to stop the campaign, because people have different problem. The volume will be not the same as the peak time, but you can achieve even some results. And these are for the seasonality. About the COVID, in March we did some tests, because I mean, pest control company probably were the right people on the right place, because they by themselves they were providing already sanification service, sanitization service that many governments almost in Europe they asked to give you the permission to reopen your, I don't know, restaurant, bar, what it is. But what happened? First, Google, to protect obviously end customer, was very strict about what you can publish and what not, because a lot of wannabe or bids up, so people that are looking for feds, for like temporary business, they start to propose sanification service, even if they were doing like car wash. I mean, they bought tools like ozone gun to do sanification, and obviously Google cannot control every company. So it became like a jungle. We did some tests. We closed some even big job for pest control company that were doing sanification. But after very little time, the CPC and the budget skyrocketed, because these are people that say, I mean, I am in a dead business, what I can do. So they buy the tools, they start to do some kind of online campaign, and they just want, to burn down that niche, that market. So we went out, even because it was not so, in some situation, you didn't have a very return on the investment. But it could be something interesting, even to improve that part of the business. And sometimes you go inside the place of a customer doing a pest control intervention, and you can cross-sell or upsell other stuff.
So we've talked a lot about what someone can do to attract business, what are the best practices, how he can set up a campaign, how he can handle a call. Now, in order to recap also, as we're going near the end of this interview,
yeah,
let's discuss a bit about the negative, the mistakes someone can do, the risks that might not be suitable And what are the costly mistakes that a small business owner can do when he's in the pest control industry?
I mean, as we talked about a lot in how to handle the call, and obviously you have to have the right tool in place. This is the first thing, because if you don't have the right tool, and for right tool I mean you have to know your number, and to know your numbers you have to have tool like Nimbata. You have to track the conversion of the campaign, but the biggest issue is that they start to not believe that this online thing can help them. So when the small business owner, of course, they had some kind of bad experience in the past, because let's be honest, the barriers of entry in our business, they are very low. I mean, every guy can just open a laptop and start doing this kind of digital thing. They are not obliged, let's say, initially to set up something. I mean, I had to come to Estonia, set up my company, paying humongous amount of money to accountants to fill. I signed like, I don't know, many papers to open a company, go to the bank, open the bank account. But if you want to do the things correctly, okay, it's a hassle. But if you want just to start and propose yourself as a consultant, it's very easy. And many small business owner, let's say even micro business owner, they had very bad experiences about, this kind of online marketing guru experts. I mean, sometimes I bought some kind of training of people that sold the training about how to do AdWords campaign, that they told in the training, no guys, I'm just figuring out about this function, I will update you when. I mean, you are selling a training. So let's imagine what there is around. So the first thing I suggest to a business owner, if he doesn't want to do it by himself, is to ask for a trial period. I mean, initial trial period with a small investment. I know of people that invested with a huge web company. They invested 10, 20,000 euro. I mean, you are exaggerating. So start small and eventually with a trial periods, and understand if they are, you can read online there is a huge tons of informations. You can read and at least understand the jargon. So you must be kind of knowledgeable if you don't want to handle by yourself. If you want to handle by yourself, I told, start small budget, and do it manually. And after you can improve yourself, but don't stop believing in it, because it's a great tool, and your competitors, they are using it. And don't be scared even about the costs, because I mean, like, great marketing experts like Dan Kennedy, for example, he said that in the market who can allow himself to spend more to attract customer. And if you think about is the truth, because I can spend, if I can spend 10 times what you are spending, I will be the king on that specific micro niche and local market. But you can reach that point after you started small and you optimized all your process, the online campaign, the offline way of dealing with the customer, from the call to the billing process.
Okay, Orazio. So that was great. This was all our time for today. It was a great pleasure doing this interview with you. I think I'm ready to start a pest control business. It's not a good idea because I don't like being near insects. I really hate them.
I mean, it's a bad situation. Sometimes you listen to the calls, and I mean, it's a tragedy. Anyway, let's not talk about it.
Is there anything you'd like to add, Orazio, before we end this?
I mean, I hope that some advices, probably they are not stuff that you can do tomorrow immediately, but you start to, staying around this kind of informations. So this way, next time that's a random guy come into your office and say, let's do Google ads, let's spend 5,000 euro, you will have in the back of your head, in your mind, my voice, I hope, that tell you, start small, just test a bit, like a reminder to avoid waste of money.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Orazio.
Thanks to you, and thank for the people that listen at these talks. Thank you.
Have an amazing day, everyone. Bye-bye.